Um, I just did a whole show without realizing that I didn't even press go live. So now I'm going to have to repeat it all. What a shame. Okay, so this is basically about the corruption of the Bible. My last shows on TikTok were about whether the crucifixion happened or not. And I had so much proof to prove that the crucifixion did happen by using their own books that they obviously kept trying to run away from it and divert away from the topic. And the one thing that they kept trying to divert away from was that the Bible's corrupted and they don't believe it. So again, I've decided to do this video because I've got so much more proof. I had enough proof already, but I've got even more added proof to that to prove that the Bible is not corrupted. And I'm using their books as well to prove it, not just my books and my early church fathers, but their books as well. So let's start with their books to begin with. How do they know the names of any women other than Mother Mary? Because they don't know the name of Eve. They don't know the name of Hagar, Ishmael's mother. They don't know the name of Abraham's wife, Sarah. They don't know the name of Rebecca, even though they keep quoting it over and over and over. They don't know the name of Leah because none of those names are in their Quran. So where do they get these names from? The corrupted Bible. How do they know the name of Al Imran, the father of Mother Mary, which isn't, by the way, it's Joachim, but they got it wrong anyway, because where did they got it from? The Bible. Al Imran, father of Aaron and Moses, and the real Miriam that he had as a daughter, not Mother Mary, Miriam. And that's why they've made the mistake. But again, from the Bible, corrupted Bible. So they take so much information from our corrupted Bible, even though apparently it's corrupted. Now, the one verse they use to say that the Bible's corrupted is Al-Baqarah 79. But guess what? Al-Baqarah 79 doesn't say the Bible's corrupted. They have to twist it and turn what it says to say that. Because Al-Baqarah 79 literally just says some Jews altered their Torah orally, not the written word. With their oral words, they changed what it said orally. The written word stayed the same. And there is not one verse in the whole of the Quran that says that Injil or the Zabur is corrupted. Not one, either orally or written. That's the only one verse they use. So let's come forward with a few verses from their Quran that blows that one verse that they totally corrupt and change out of the water. And starting with Al-Baqarah itself, actually, the same verse they use, 79, to prove that it is corrupted. Same chapter, chapter 2, Al-Baqarah 2, 40 to 44, especially 41. Al-Baqarah 2, 89, 91, 97, 101, 136, and 285. All those verses confirm the Bible, say there's nothing wrong with it, it's perfectly fine, and the Jews should follow it and stand upon it. So straight away from the same chapter they use to say that it's corrupted, using a verse that they twist, 79, because as I say, it doesn't say that it is corrupted, the written word, it just says oral word was corrupted. I've used 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 verses, and that's not exhaustive. There are many more than that that say that, just in that one chapter alone, Al-Baqarah. Then we go to Al Imran. Al Imran 3, Al Imran 5, Al Imran 48, and Al Imran 65. Again, all confirmed. 1643, 1094 tells the Muslims if they have any doubt with their book, come and ask us Christians, and we'll tell them the answer. Like, for instance, who's the wife of Adam? Eve. Who's the wife of Abraham? Sarah. Who's the mother of Ishmael? Hagar. They don't know. You see, they haven't got a Scooby-Dooby-Doo-Doo. Al Imran 46, Al Imran 47, Al Imran 66, Al Imran 68, and Al Imran, sorry, not Al Imran, Al Imran 3, Al Imran 5, Al Imran 48, Al Imran 65, Al Maida 46, Al Maida 47, Al Maida 66, Al Maida 68, and Al Maida 110. All those verses tell me as a Christian to follow and stand upon my book, or I stand upon nothing. Why would Allah be telling us to do that if it's corrupted? 7157, that's where you can find Muhammad in both the Torah and the Gospels. How can you if it's corrupted? Again, all these verses are total garbo if the book is corrupted, as Muslims claim, which, as I say, it doesn't say that anyway, anywhere. Not anywhere does it say that. They change it to make it say that. Now let's go on to the real big proofs in their same book. 6115 of the Quran, 1827 of the Quran, and 1064 of the Quran. Surah 6, Ayah 115, Surah 18, Ayah 27, and Surah 10, Ayah 64 all say no one can change Allah's words. Now, again, straight away, Muslims change that by adding the word Quran. When there's no Quran or any book mentioned in any of those three verses, it literally just says no one can change Allah's words. The Torah is Allah's words, the Zabur is Allah's words, and the Injil is Allah's words. No one can change them. And I've proved that to you from Sahih Bukhari 6614 and Abu Dawood 4701. Allah wrote the Torah himself. He physically wrote the Torah himself. He didn't write their half Quran. Some geezer called Hafs wrote it, a known liar, thief, and cheat. But Allah did write the Torah. He also wrote the Zabur, Surah 21, Ayah 105. Allah wrote the Zabur himself, the Psalms. That was the proof I was using to prove that the crucifixion happened, mainly Psalm 22, that Allah wrote himself. That's why they had to keep deflecting to this, you know. So we have proof from the Quran, overwhelming proof from your Quran. The Bible is not corrupted. Surah 15 ayah 9 proves it conclusively, because Surah 15 ayah 9 says Allah has protected his scripture. Now again, they've changed the word scripture in this verse to reminder, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't alter the fact, because the Quran, when that verse was revealed, was not fully revealed, and a lot of it wasn't even written down. It was memorized according to their own Islamic narrative. So the Quran was not a reminder then or a scripture then until it's fully revealed and fully written down, which it wasn't at that stage. The only book that was fully written down and was still a reminder was the Torah, the Zabur, and the Injil, because it was a book. Surah 2, Ayah 89, the book they have in their hands. Surah 2, Ayah 97, the book they have in their hands. I will carry on with more proof of that later when I start to go through the 100 witnesses who also confirm it. So we have, as I say, a book that Allah says no one can change. And we also have a book that Allah said he will protect it from being changed. Don't listen to their lies when they say, no, that's only the Quran. Rubbish. It doesn't say that. It says he will protect his books, end of. Now let's go to the 100 names who can also confirm that the Bible is uncorrupted. And these names are partly Muslim scholars to start with. Then there's also prophets, but the majority of them are also prophets in Islam. Where did they get those prophets from? The corrupted Bible, because they are prophets in the Bible. We then also have the list of the 12 apostles, some of whom wrote this book, of course. And so, of course, they will confirm that it's definitely not corrupted. And then I will go on to list many, many, many early church fathers from the 1st century up to the 7th, 8th century. 800 years. So in other words, all the way through the Quran, before the Quran, and all the way through the Quran and after the Quran was revealed. And you will see from those that, again, the Bible cannot be corrupted, because it will also include the 2 oldest Bibles we have in surviving today. The Latin Vulgate, written by one of the church fathers himself, which, as I say, I will come on to. That dates from the 3rd century. That's in the Vatican City. It's a complete Bible, apart from the small parts of the Old Testament, and the Codex Sinaiticus, written in Greek in the British Museum. Again, a full Bible from the 3rd century, 200 years before the Quran. Both, again, a full Bible, apart from parts of the Old Testament, and that is exactly the same as the Bible we have today. Exactly the same. So let's go through these list of names, shall we? Al-Qurtubi, Al-Suti, Al-Tabari, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, I think that's Muhammad, I'm not sure. Isham, Ishaq, Allah, Jelly Lane, all the Jelly Lanes, because there was more than one of them. Ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas. That's just a small list of the Islamic scholars who say the Bible is not corrupted. Now let's move on to the prophets. Like I say, most of these are prophets in Islam as well. Isaiah, not actually mentioned, but he is mentioned in Hadith, not by name. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel mentioned, not by name. Abraham mentioned by name. Moses mentioned by name. Samuel mentioned, not sure by name, but he is mentioned. David, Elijah, both mentioned by name. Elisha. And of course, David is the one who got the book of Psalms from Allah himself after Allah wrote it, Surah 21, 105. Elijah, name literally means, my God is Jesus. His name literally means that. My God is Jesus, and he's a prophet in the Quran. Amazing. Now let's move on to the people who actually were credited with writing the majority of the New Testament and were actually eyewitnesses of Jesus and will also confirm our Bible is uncorrupted. Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Nathanael, Matthew, Thomas, James the Less, Simon, Jude, and Matthias. And of course, in Islam, you have to believe in all the prophets of God and believe in all his scriptures. Guess what, Muslims? When you say the Bible is corrupted, you're not believing in all the prophets, are you? And you're also not believing in all the scriptures, are you? So you're being very bad Muslims. Now, let's move on to the many early church fathers. And the first four of these people actually knew the apostles personally. They were actual pupils of the apostle Peter, James, John, so on, Paul. And the next three or four in the list were pupils of those early church fathers. So that, and it carries on like that in that same vein. They were pupils of pupils before them. And so as the list goes on from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth century, it's just a current continuation list. And they're using exactly the same writings in the same books. And I will prove to you, conclusively, that these early church fathers wrote so much in depth that we can basically compile, Bibles from their writings thousands of times over. And they're exactly the same as the Bible we read today, going all the way back from the first century, as I said, up to the 8th century. Okay, and that's also, as I say, including the two oldest surviving Bibles we have today from the 3rd century, 200 years before the Quran. So we have Clement of Rome, Ignatius, Polycarp, Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Cyprian, Athanasius, Basil, Cyril of Jerusalem, Ambrose, John Chrysostom, Jerome, Augustine, Cyril of Alexandria, Pope Leo the Great, Pope Gregory the Great, Barn Athesius, Matthetius, Alexandria of Alexandria, and Alexandria of Jerusalem. As I go through this list, just take into account all the different places, because I'm listing, as I say, many names, and it spreads over a huge wide area. Oregon, John Damascus, Augustine of Hippo, Ambrose, Afrachat, Aranobius, Athengorius, Bardes Aenes, Basil the Great, Clement of Alexandria, Dionysius of Rome, and Dionysius the Great, Ephraim the Syrian, Eusebius, Gregory Nazianzen, Gregory of Nyssa, Gregory Thaumaturgus, Hermes, Hilary of Poitiers, Hippolytus, John Cassian, Julius Africanus, Mar Jacob, Methodius, Moses of Cyrene, Novatian, Pamphilus, Papias, Peter of Alexandria, Socrates Socraticus, Zosiman, Tatian, Tertullian, Theodoriot, Theophilus, Vanicaticus, Victorianus, and Vincent of Larines. Now, those are many names, as I say, spread from the 1st century up to the 8th century. And out of those names, 13 of them were so prolific that just from those 13, we can get thousands of Bibles over and over again. One of them is credited with writing the Latin Vulgate, a surviving Bible today from this 3rd century, Jerome. Jerome was credited with writing the Latin Vulgate, the Bible we have today, which predates the Quran. John Chrysostom has written virtually the whole New Testament, with the exception of Luke's Gospel and Mark's Gospel. He's written the whole and the Book of Revelations, and some of the John's letters, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and some of the other letters. But every other book he has written out in detail, and he's done an homily on it. He's broke it down verse by verse and explained every single verse. The Gospel of Matthew, the Gospel of John, all of the Romans, Hebrews. I mean, I could go on and on and on. John Chrysostom's writings on the New Testament in depth. Who else has written in depth? Origen is credited with over 2,000 writings alone. Origen, over 2,000. Some of these people were pupils of Origen as well, by the way. John Damascus was the Christian bishop of Damascus, present-day Iran, Iraq. His father before him was the Christian bishop of Iran and Iraq. And this was at the time before Muhammad, and at Muhammad, and after Muhammad. And guess what? Even though John Damascus has left us many, many books, not one of them mentioned Muhammad, not one of them mentioned Al-Lulu, not one of them mentioned the Quran, not one of them mentioned Islam, not one of them mentioned Muslims, even though he was in the area. What a surprise. Augustine of Hippo, another, Eusebius, Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Cyprian, and Athanasius. All of those people, Tertullian, Tatian, all of those were such prolific writers. Just from those 13, we could get 60,000 new Bibles overnight, just from their writings alone. Tatian is credited with writing the Diatresson. The Diatresson is the 4 Gospels written in order. He's taken all 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and written them out all in complete order. Starting with John, because obviously he's the start-up point, where he starts with, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. And then he goes on, in the beginning again. So we've got in the beginning before creation. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. And then we have in the beginning a second time, which is the beginning of creation. And as I say, Tatian moves through all 4 Gospels, writing them out in order, moving from one to the other, going complete order all the way through all 4 Gospels. I've already mentioned Jerome being credited with writing the Latin Vulgate. I mean, basically, for someone to come along, some Egypt to come along with a book that is so full of mistakes, so full of errors, was clearly written by a camel that they take the urine from to cure all their ills, and say that this book isn't correct and it is corrupted is crazy. Because all it does is prove your book is corrupted as well, Muslims. That's all it does. Because your book says, no, it's not corrupted. Your book says it cannot be corrupted. Your book says Allah has protected it from being corrupted. And there's not one verse in there that goes against that. Not one. The only verse, as I say, that you can mention Al-Baqarah 79, you have to physically change what it says. You have to change Allah's words to say it has. And even then, that still doesn't dispute the other 20 plus verses that say it hasn't. That doesn't dispute all the scholars that say it hasn't. That doesn't dispute all the prophets that say it hasn't. And it definitely doesn't dispute the eyewitnesses who say that it hasn't, including Mother Mary, John the Baptist, and Jesus. 3 people in your own book, Muslims, who are completely sinless and have never ever lied. Strange that, isn't it? And it also doesn't dispute the thousands, well, not thousands, but literally 70 plus early church fathers who all also say it was never, ever corrupted. And they have given us so much writing, those early church fathers, so much that we can compile a whole Bible from their church writings, and it's exactly the same as our Bible today. No different. Exactly the same. So, Muslims, next time you come on one of my lives where I'm doing a topic on the crucifixion, did it happen or didn't it happen, I suggest you stay on the topic, because I have less proof at the moment over that. Literally all I've got is the book of Psalms, the Zabur, that Allah wrote himself, 21:105 and 6115 and 1827 and 1064. No one can change Allah's words. And then the Psalms themselves, Psalm 69, Psalm 22, Psalm 31, Psalm 16, Psalm 34, Psalm 103, and a few others. So let's proof on that, Muslims. On the credibility of the Bible, I have so much proof. I have just blown Allah and his throne out of his water that he's sitting upon, completely blown him apart with the proof that the Quran is, doesn't say the Bible is corrupted. It actually confirms the Bible, and it actually says that the Bible cannot be corrupted, and it actually says the Bible is protected from being corrupted. Surah 15, ayah 9. No one can change it. Surah 6, ayah 115, Surah 18, ayah 27, and Surah 1064. And it's confirmed and it is complete, and we should follow and obey it. Al-Baqarah 40:44, Al-Baqarah 89, Al-Baqarah 91, Al-Baqarah 97, Al-Baqarah 101, Al-Baqarah 136, Al-Baqarah 285, 1643, 1094. If you have any problems about your book, Muslims, come and ask me, the Christian. Certainly come and ask me about the crucifixion. Did it happen or not? Yes, it definitely did happen. Now you have no doubt. Al-Imran 3, Al-Imran 5, Al-Imran 48, Al-Imran 65, Al-Ma'idah 46, Al-Ma'idah 47, Al-Ma'idah 66, Al-Ma'idah 68, Al-Ma'idah 110, and Surah 7, ayah 1757. All say the Bible is uncorrupted and cannot be corrupted and is protected from being corrupted. Add to that the 101 names, some of them Islamic scholars, some of them Islamic prophets, some of them eyewitnesses who actually wrote the Bible, and others who came from the 1st century up to the 6th and 7th century, who all claim there was nothing wrong with that Bible, and some of whom wrote the earliest Bibles we have today, the Latin Vulgate in the Vatican City and the Codex Sinaiticus in the British Museum. Both date from the 3rd century. I know for a fact Jerome is credited with writing the Latin Vulgate. I'm not sure which one of these was credited with writing the Codex Sinaiticus, but I'm pretty sure one of them was credited with writing the Codex Sinaiticus. Clement of Rome, Ignatius, Polycarp, Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Cyprian, Athanasius, Basil, Cyril of Jerusalem, Ambrose, John Chrysostom, Jerome, Augustine, Cyril of Alexandria, Pope Leo the Great, Pope Gregory the Great, Barnathesibius, Matthetes, Alexandria of Alexandria, Alexandria of Jerusalem, Origen, John Damascus, Augustine of Hippo, Ambrose, Aphrochat, Aranobius, Athenagoras, Desanes, Basil the Great, Clement of Alexandria, Dionysius of Rome, Dionysius the Great, Ephraim the Syrian, Eusebius, Gregory Nassizene, Gregory of Nyssa, Gregory Thaumaturgius, Hermes, Illyripoitus, Hippolytus, John Cassian, Julius Africanus, Mar Jacob, Methodius, Moses of Cyrene, Novatian, Pamphilius, Papias, Peter of Alexandria, Socrates, Socraticus, Zosiman, Tatian, Tertullian, Theodoret, Theophilus, Van Cantius Victorius Van Vincent of Lerins. I think I've conclusively proved, Muslims, that there is nothing wrong with the Bible. The proof that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the Bible is there for all to see. The same Bible we have today is exactly the same as the two oldest surviving Bibles from the 3rd century, the Latin Vulgate and the Codex Sinaiticus. Exactly the same. Word for word, alica for alica, letter for letter, vowel for vowel. Unlike your Quran, which is, of course, as we know, not the same as when it was revealed to Muhammad. According to Aisha, al-Baqarah was once, Surah 33 was once as long as al-Baqarah. Surah 33 has 73 verses today. Al-Baqarah has 286. So just from one chapter alone, you're missing over 200 verses, Muslims, from your mother, yourself, the mother of your believers, Aisha. Over 200 verses missing just from one chapter alone. And yet they worry about our book. What I would concentrate more than anything, Muslims, is your book and the corruption that's within your book, because it is clearly corrupted. You know, you can clearly see that with the many huge mistakes that are in it, such as the huge contradiction where Allah says that the crucifixion didn't happen, he only made it appear to them so. But then he goes and wrote a psalm called Psalm 22, which clearly says the crucifixion did happen. What a contradiction. What a huge contradiction. And that is the topic of my latest, and so that's why I don't want you to divert to whether the Bible's corrupted or not, Muslims. Because if you do, I will have to bring you the plus 20 verses from your Quran that says it isn't, the Hadith, Sahih Bukhari 6614, Abu Dawud 4701, that say Allah wrote the Torah himself, Surah 21:105 that says Allah wrote the Psalms himself, Abu Dawud 4449, Sunnah, where Muhammad swears an oath on the Torah, and the 101 witnesses, some of them Muslims and prophets, who all say it isn't corrupted and all prove it isn't corrupted. So unless you can bring me 30 verses from your Quran that says it is, unless you can bring me 3 hadiths that says it is, and 2 sunnah that says it is, and unless you can bring me 102 witnesses that say it is, don't even bother saying it, Muslims. Because I will blow you just like I blew your Alalulu out of the water, the same way I'll blow you out of your water. So there you go, folks. Alalulu. Make sure you put a sign on your toilet saying Alalulu, because that's the only place you can actually find Allah, in your Lulu. Okay, that's the only place I find him. That's why I call him Allah Lulu. God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. I'm just going to get ready to go to church now and praise the true living God, Jesus Christ. He is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. John 14:6. Shame we can't say the same about Allah, the greatest deceiver. Al Imran 54. The greatest liar. He even tells all the Muslims to lie constantly. Al Imran 28. And don't listen to their lie when they say that doesn't say you can lie. That's exactly what it says. Muhammad said, 328 says, you can lie to your friends, you can lie to your enemies, and you can lie to your family. Who's left? If you take your family away, you take your friends away, you take your enemies away, who's left? No one. And the Sharia says exactly the same thing. You can lie to everybody about anything, about everything, all the time. You're just not allowed to lie to Allah Lulu or Muhammad or your Imam. That's it. Anyone else you can lie to all the time, except for Allah Lulu. I mean, why Allah Lulu? I don't know, because the only place you can find him, as I've already said, is in your Lulu. So you need to lie only in your Lulu. Muhammad, why bother even lying to a dead bod? The geezer's dead 1400 years. Nothing left of the bod man. But not only do they cannot lie to him, they also pray to him. They pray to him every single day in their 5 daily prayers. Once they've invoked Allelulu, oh Allelulu, please come down to my Lulu, I need to pray to you. They have to pray directly to Muhammad, directly to him. Oh Muhammad, I put my blessings upon you. Oh Muhammad, directly to him. Dead bod, dead man, dead geese, gone finished. They're praying to this but dead. Seriously, seriously, this madness has to end. Where these pagans, these heathens, are coming here, spreading their filth and their lies, and saying my book is corrupted. No, 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 muzzy, no muzzy. That is ending. That is finished. You ain't getting away with that crappy crap doo from your Allelulu anymore. Do you understand me? I hope you understand me, because it ain't happening no more, mush. You want to take that rubbish back to your desert in your tent, and jiggy your camel and then drink its urine? Fine, do that. Don't come here and spread that garbo here. All right? Good on you. God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all.